Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Unapologetic Tea Time with your host, PG. That's me. Good Wednesday evening. I am a bit early. I won't be on too long. I have another YouTuber that I want to drop in on. He is one of my fellow YouTubers. Um, and I'd like to call him my friend, Bo Knows. If you haven't checked out his channel, I invite you to please go over and check out Bo Knows channel over on YouTube and tell him that the PG sent you. Also, um, if you have not checked out Superdell TV, his channel is on YouTube as well. Go over there and check them out if you are looking for useful tips and tricks to cutting the cord from your cable company or cable provider or satellite provider. Then check out Bo Knows and or Superdell TV YouTube channel and tell them when you stop in that the PG sent you over. I hope everyone is doing well this evening, as we all can be with what we are faced with here in the good old US of A. I want to let you know that each and every one of you who may drop in on me from time to time and who checks out my YouTube channel on a regular basis, it is much appreciated. Much appreciated. And I want to say thank you so much to all of my loyal listeners and loyal YouTube subscribers, as well as all of my um, visitors that may visit or pop in from time to time. I want to say thank you so very much. And I hope that you are all doing as well as you can be and practicing good safety measures during the trying times that we're in right now. Going forward, let me get into today's brief discussion, and it's saying it basically is forwards and backwards. Forwards and backwards. What do I mean? Hey, Aaron, hope you're all doing good. Hope you're well. Nice to see you over on my channel this evening. Thank you for stopping in. But as the title says, forwards and backwards. And I guess you say, well, what does that mean, or what are you getting at, PG? And I want to say that right now we are in some troubling times and we are in some uncertain times, definitely. But even during uncertain times and times of uneasiness and what have you, we can always seem to find the good in what most people will do. And I'm just going to say, when you do good and when you do the right thing, even though you may not be seen at the moment for what you are doing, or for if you're not being noticed, as long as you're doing the right thing, that says a lot about who you are. And to me, that shows good integrity. But with what keeping with what my title says this evening, forwards and backwards, I'm kind of wanting to talk about a little of this and a little of that and putting it all in the pot together and finding out whether or not we're moving forward or if we're moving backwards. Some of us are on a collision course. Some of us are just what I would call hovering and are still in the twilight zone and haven't kind of waken up just yet because we're not sure what's really going on. We've kind of blanked out and given ourselves a little time out, kind of, sort of. It's almost as if some people are on this tumultuous high that they can't seem to come down off of, and they're not um, in the know. Or let's say if they're not in the know, then, or they don't want to be in the know, and they have not accepted what is truly going on because nothing has truly, I guess, affected their lives or livelihoods or someone or some people or group of people that they love and care about. And it's only until that particular time when will they then understand and start to say, oh Lord, well, by that time it may perhaps be a little too little and a little too late. Moving forward with anything such as what we're under right now, the stress, the strain, the unemployment, the rising cost of food, the uncertainty of what our future holds as a state, wherever you may reside, what our future holds as a country here in the United States. It's very uncertain and it is troubling, and we don't know necessarily. But what we can do is try to pull ourselves up by the bootstraps, try to lend a kind word, try to help when you can and where you can and with what you can. I'm not talking necessarily of monetary measure. I'm talking about just being good old fashioned, good down to earth people that we are. The majority of the United States citizens that reside here are good, everyday, ordinary people, caring people. But it's time for us to go back to the old way, somewhat, of what we used to do when we were being schooled and being taught by our elders. And that is, be good, be honest, have a word, you know, work hard and do what it is you can do for your neighbor, a family member, or a friend with no strings attached. If you can do something, do it. If it's not going to inconvenience you or make you even shorter on your rent or your mortgage or whatever, do it from the bottom of your heart and do it because it's the right thing to do. Some of us are learning some hard lessons right now. And some of us are making great strides in keeping ourselves and our families and others as safe as we can during this time. Some of us are saving money. In fact, I read an article that says that we are, as citizens in the US right now, are hoarding money like it was the 1980s when there was a savings frenzy. And, that is a good thing because right now, and I know with cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, and this and that and all, cash is still going to be king no matter what. If you got it, you can do some things. Cash is still king, trust and believe. It doesn't have to be necessarily the cash in your wallet, it can be the cash in the bank, the cash in the safety deposit box, the cash in the house somewhere, hidden under the house or wherever you may have it. It's king and it can buy you some things. No, it can't buy you the happiness. But when you need something, and I'm not talking about bullshit. I'm not talking about the electronics and the gadgets and the toys that we all like and the jewelry that we like and the colognes and the perfume and the designer shoes and purses and the designer wallets and hats and things. I'm not talking about that. But when you really need something, such as an emergency pops up and you need your vehicle service, or you need tires for that vehicle, or you need a new refrigerator, or a new freezer or new washer and dryer or whatever, you got that savings, or you got that cash stacked back for that rainy day, then you can go and put your hands on it. So with that, then we can move forward into whatever the future is going to hold for each and every one of us. And I'm sure that it will all be different because we're all different people and from all walks of life. But with having that foundation, we can definitely move ourselves into a little bit better avenue than we could if we didn't have such of a savings account or a rainy day fund or an emergency fund or whatever you want to call it, a little extra stash or a little extra cash put away. So we do have to go backwards a little bit, and we have to step back and think about what our elders taught us, what perhaps our parents or grandparents used to say a long time ago that we used to laugh at. Things come into play sometimes, and we can hear those words, ever so slightly, that we can actually apply some of their teachings to today. Now, moving forward, tomorrow isn't promised. This very next minute isn't promised to anyone. But we must all try to move forward as best as we can. It is very scary. It is very troubling right now. But if we move at a slow enough pace and take the precautionary measures that we're being asked to take, we may not have to go even further backwards to from whence we came, such as involuntary or voluntary sheltering in place or lockdowns and stuff like that, and closing down entire cities and states and what have you. But certainly with the foolishness that's going on also, we're destined to have some hiccups all along the way, and at a cost of, unfortunately, human life. Unfortunately, jobs will be lost and never regained. Unfortunately, homes will be lost and never to be lived in, perhaps by those previous owners and what have you. There's a lot at stake, but we all must try to continue to move an inch a little bit at a time. Because if you remember, the old saying is not how fast, but the slow and steady wins the race. It's not the fastest necessarily when we put things into perspective like what we have going on right now, but it's slow and steady, trying to make really good decisions. There's going to be some people that will come out of this millionaires and billionaires. There's going to be people that will invent things. And I'm not talking about the scientists necessarily. I'm not talking about your corporate people or your people that have billions and millions already, y'all. I'm talking about ordinary, everyday people. If you look around, we have seen in record proportions the amount of people that have come forward who have dusted off their sewing machines, who have put their minds to work collectively to come up with different masks that can run up against the N95s and what have you, and the R95 mask and what have you. Just plain everyday ordinary people, working class people, have invented things to help the healthcare industry and what have you help them to sustain with personal protection equipment. There's going to be other things that people are going to invent or going to expound on that will create and make things a little bit better for all of our lives. So I challenge each and every one of you who are listening and will be listening to this vlog in the future. Put your thinking caps on and perhaps collectively call up friends and family members or ex co-workers or co-workers and what have you, whether you are an engineer, whether you are a baker, or whether you are a shoemaker, or whether you are a obstetrician, or whether you're the dentist down the street, or whether you're the mall worker or the restaurant worker. Put on your thinking caps, because certainly when we think about the things that we need right now that has not been produced and that has not been invented, certainly groups of us can all work together collectively. Some of us who have that type of stamina, we can certainly invent some things, and it is certainly doable. And I'm going to challenge each and every one of you to put on that thinking cap and do what you can and move inch forward instead of staying stagnant or going all the way backwards. Now, we may have to take a back seat every now and again, but certainly that won't last long if we continue to educate ourselves. You know, Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and TikTok is all fun and games and all and everything. But hey, Tim, glad to see you're here. I text you a little while ago, not today, but about a week ago, but I didn't hear from you. So I was beginning to worry, um, you know, if you were okay. I'm glad to see you're on. So that's a that's a good feeling for me right now to see that you are on and you're okay. But I go back to saying that in the future, we have our whole outlook. We have a whole future that is at stake, and it's up to us. Just because you're a certain age does not mean that we can't work together with younger people or older people and for a common good and develop things and develop equipment, uh, and develop things that can be used here and right now, all across our nation, because there should be people that will come out of this a little bit more richer, a little bit more astute than they were. That's always the case when a critical situation like war, um, depressions, recessions, people tend to make things. They tend to come up with things. They tend to find a way to do something that hasn't necessarily been done before. And it's ordinary people that do this. I'm not talking that you have to have um, a master's degree or a PhD, or, you don't have to have that. But we can all work together for the common good of all of us, because this particular situation that our nation is faced with right now, this current time, is not going anywhere anytime soon. So trust and believe. You thinking that we're going to be out and about and having a good old time for Memorial Day, which is next week, I believe. No, your next big holiday would be 4th of July. No. Maybe Labor Day, perhaps not. We have a long road ahead. So let's inch forward, but let's reach backwards from what our ancestors and what our elders taught us, and use some of the things that they taught us or said to us, and populate that knowledge into society and take that and run forward with it, you know, because we all can benefit from it. Now is the time to save money. Now is the time that some people are still working from home. Some people aren't that fortunate to even work from home. Some people are still having to go out, you know, and it is still quite dangerous. You know, yes, definitely. Here in the Atlanta metro area, our case numbers are rising daily and our death toll is off the chain. So this is no joke, and we're definitely nowhere near the end of this pandemic. But certainly, we as a people can inch forward to try to combat this on our own as much as we can. We can use good safety measures and practice good safety and good hygiene, wash our hands, educate ourselves in what needs to be done, and that foolishness and that good old fashioned crazy fuckery, I call it. I mean, when you go into a place, a business, and it's 100 or 200 people in there and no one's social distancing and what have you, that's fuckery. That's crazy, because it is not that damn important to risk one's life over whatever it is you're trying to do. That shucking and jiving and all, you can shake your ass at home. You can shake your ass in the, you know, in your backyard or in your bedroom, in the living room. If you're in an apartment, go out in the parking lot and shake your butt. But you don't have to subject yourselves to different things, y'all. Subject yourself to educating yourself. Subject yourself to making certain that you watch the news at least once a week to find out what's going on in around you and your surroundings and in around the world or the globe. I know that the news is hard to digest right now, y'all, but I say that to say this: we can find out some things and keep in contact with people. Reach out to people that you know you would normally see at work, but you might not be seeing right now, whatever. Email them. We have more ways to communicate than we ever have before. So there's no reason that we can't communicate with people. Just because we have to social distance does not mean that we have to excommunicate with people. You know, we need that, and we can all learn, y'all, from each other. Hey, Miss Monique, glad to have you here. Um, but y'all, I say, you know, inch forward and try to not go backwards. And if you must go backwards, remember to only go backwards into what your ancestors and your elders talked about and the things that they tried to teach you and instill in each and every one of us. Go back to that. Go back to the old way of saving money and saving for that rainy day and being a good steward and being a good person, having that good integrity, you know, doing the right thing, whether or not it's going to be looked at and you're going to get kudos or not. Do the right thing. And when you do, that says a lot about you, that individual person that you are, being a good person, because it's not about the accolades that you are going to receive. It's about the human nature and the goodness that's down deep within you that pours out of you to another human being. So if we gotta move backwards in that facet, but let's continue to inch forward, because we can beat this. I can't, the PG can't tell you when we're going to beat this and how it's going to come, but I just know that I'm damn sure going to fight to survive. And I'm going to definitely do my part in the social distancing and with everything else that is being thrown at us. I'm going to do my part in trying to save myself and save others as well along the way, when and where and when I can. But I'm also going to turn back and go back to thinking about what my elders used to tell me and the things that they used to say that I can stand firm on and look at and look out over and think about to this day, and how I can apply it to this day, this time in my life, and what we're going through and what we're faced with, because they had an astute amount of courage and they could foresee a whole lot into the future, because a lot of them used to say, we may not be here to see it, but there's gonna come a day, or there's gonna come a time. And I can remember those words, and I can hear those words ever so slightly in the back of my mind as I was a little kid, growing up. And I had such a small family. They died out really, really early. I was born into an older family, so they died out really early in my life. But that did not stop me from being able to remember some of the things that I heard them say, and the things that I can stand on to this day and know that they were not lying, and could say, if I had the chance, to tell them thank you, just for giving me the heads up, because I thought that I was not going to see something like this. I thought I was not going to see some of those rainy days that they tried to prepare me for. I thought I was going to get past all that, but I thought, but they knew better. That's why they tried to prepare us for those days. So we still have their wisdom, and we still stand on their shoulders today. And I thank my elders, and I thank all of the people that I have run across that were quite older, quite up in age, but they still had a word for me. And I was always obedient and was always willing to sit and listen as to what they had to say. All the times, yes, I was just like any other young person. I didn't necessarily believe it, but I was very, very humble, and very, very what do you call the word? I just lost my train of thought. I was very, very respectful in making certain that I sit and I listen until when they turned me loose, then I could leave or whatever. But I did not interrupt them. I took whatever they had to tell me, and I listened. And a lot of it, I may not be able to think about to this day, but a whole lot of it I still can recollect and remember, and almost hear their words coming out of their mouths. So I stand on their shoulders to this day, and I'm sure that you who tuned in could perhaps even feel the same way as I do, that you have your elders that you can, thank them for trying to tell you, how perhaps things that we might face along the way. And I thought, like I said, I thought I was not going to see these type of times, but they knew. I don't know what kind of crystal ball these folks had. I don't know, but okay, Tim, great. I don't know, but they had something, and I guess it's called good old fashioned just sense, sense, common sense, to know. But they had been through the Great Depression. They had been through, slavery. They had been through, sharecropping. They had been through, having to rob Peter to pay Paul. They had been through, having to eat very little food, having been through having to grow their own food because they couldn't afford to buy the food. Even back then, if we turn back the hands of time, how cheap food was, they still couldn't afford to buy it. And they worked every day, but they were getting 50 cents a week or $1 a week or something crazy like that, but nevertheless, they made good with what they had, and their family units stayed intact. They tried to keep their families together and their families fed and what have you, and they went to church on Sundays. That's what they did. So I'm just saying, let's inch forward and let's try to go backwards to what we once learned from our elders, and let's not go backwards on fuckery and foolishness and let people tell us these things and put our lives in danger trying to move forward. And then the next thing we know, we're going backwards, and we're at a point of no return. So definitely use good common sense, y'all. Use every wit, everything deep down within you to discern what's good for you and your family or your household versus just because the governor tells you something, or just because the mayor tells you something, or just because this dotard of what they call a president, which I don't know what that is, that's still in the White House. But God help us all come November. If y'all don't get out to the polls to vote, if we got to go to the polls, we got to go by hook or crook, we got to vote through mail, we got to do something to get that fool out of there. Just today, he disagreeing with Fauci, saying, the things that he said that was not right or incorrect. I don't know what's wrong with this man. I don't understand. But like I say, y'all, do what you can do to inch forward. Save as much as you can. Maybe plant your garden, start something, start that emergency fund that you've been putting off about saving. Now is the time. Now is the time. Time is not waiting for anyone. Now is the time to do what it is that needs to be done. All right, y'all, it's been good. I'm going to go ahead and get on up off of here. I want to let you know that I have some favorite YouTubers that I follow. Bo Knows has his own YouTube channel, and if you are looking to cut the cord, please go over to Bo Knows' channel on YouTube. Definitely pop in, tell them that the PG sent you, and I'm more than sure he will show you a big old welcome. It's much love over there. The whole DST team is a great team. Go on over and check him out. Check out, while you're at it, Superdell TV. He's another YouTuber that's great with the cord cutting folks, and all of the followers and the people who love to be in the know. They can teach you something. I will attest to that. Definitely, Tech in the Bathroom is another one. There's many more. The Real, DAREAL, is another one. Hustler TV and Bo Knows, they do a show together. Definitely, you want to go over. These are some people that was always spitting out good techie information. And you can definitely learn how to cut the cord and save some more money during this pandemic and moving forward, inching forward. That's a little bit more money that you can plan to put in your savings account or into your household budget, to put back into the budget or into your new emergency fund that you're going to create or whatever. So definitely those YouTubers' names that I have spit out just a few minutes ago, definitely go over and say hi, check them out, sit a spell. You might learn something, and tell them that PG sent you. Well, good night. Y'all have a great rest of your evening, and I'm going to bid you adieu. Remember, someone out here needs to hear the words, I love you. I love you. Definitely take care of yourselves. Definitely stay safe. Wash your hands and educate yourself in what it is you can do to help yourself. Bye now.